Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cinema d'Amore. I'm your host, Chuck, joined by
Justin Morgan.
And this week we're heading west. Back to the westerns. You just can't get enough of them.
I love my westerns.
I
love my westerns.
And a good western.
I love this one. I actually am surprised. It's from 2018. I was thinking it was sooner. Like closer to...
Yeah, I
like,
did.
I
thought it was more recent, but...
I thought it was like a post-pandemic, but I would be wrong. Oh, no, I know I'm wrong. I can see the date here.
It's the Coens. We love it's their it's their final project together.
I think they'll do
which one of these stories was the one that they were like that's it. We can't do this anymore. I hate you. What disagreements were they having just on this?
I don't know if there were really disagreements. They just said like they want to do their own thing. I feel like the story had something to do with Joel wanting to make a Macbeth movie around the same time that like Ethan wanted to focus on his family or something. At least this is what they said. And then he made, I think about the time that the tragedy of Macbeth was released, that's when they were like, and Ethan's going to do his own movies.
Yeah, this was, this movie kind of combines a lot of things. You can basically categorize their movies into three main categories. They really like westerns, noir, or screwball comedies, and then sometimes they cross over with both or two of the three going into the same thing. This one gets this one obviously the western, but does have some great comedic moments in a couple of the sections. And yeah, but when they went separate, definitely seemed like Joel went the more serious way and Ethan went the more comedic way. So
I mean, I think as of now, there's only The Tragedy of Macbeth by Joel, Drive Away Dolls, and the other one. I saw the other one. I can't remember what it's called.
Honey Don't.
Yeah. He did two of those movies.
Joel's next movie's coming out soon.
Oh, is it?
Supposed to be this year. This year or next year, I guess. He's getting in there.
Is it Jack of Spades?
You might be shocked to know it stars Frances McDormand. I don't know if you'd believe that, but
yeah, that's probably the most surprising. Damian Lewis, Josh O'Connor, Leslie Manville. I'm not sure if I know who Leslie Manville is off the top of my head.
Will soon. It is interesting. Both of them branched off to work more with their wives. Joel keeps working with Frances McDormand, and Ethan's writing his movies with his wife. So it's like they both are like they're still a team in a sense, but they've teamed with their wives.
It's not even just writing. They're doing everything together. They're writing, directing, and editing these movies together, but the DGA will only let Ethan's name be on it. So like that's where they like it's kind of the same shit that was happening in the early Coen movies where Joel Coen was always the director, the lone director, even though they were both directing. And I think I actually kind of like the split just to kind of get an idea of what they're both good at. The only thing is Joel seems to be less of a collaborator, at least behind the scenes, and he's more like collaborating with just the cast, the actors and stuff. And Ethan seems to be completely, teaming up with his wife, doing everything with his wife, which they've been doing for a while too. It gets really confusing. Basically, they work with the same people pretty much all the time, and I think that's kind of why all their stuff ends up feeling so similar. Like they use the same, well, usually. I mean, it switches every once in a while, but they'll have like the same sound guy and the same costumer and the same person that does casting, and it's like a little close, like tight knit thing. And it did sound like they said they would come back together at some point. It was just maybe it's after these next two movies because Ethan's doing like his third drive away movie, whatever they're calling this trilogy. And then maybe after this Jack of Spades, they'll do something together. But yeah. I mean, looking at everything, they really do love their fucking westerns, and I guess that was it too big for them? Did they go too western on this one, and they did all the westerns in one movie, and then felt like they didn't have to do any more?
They got all the different versions in this one. But yeah, I mean, I love westerns, and my other favorite thing is anthology movies. So this is just one of those that's right up my alley. But I'd say all the stories are pretty decent. They range in tone.
And what movie are we talking about?
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Okay.
And we start off with The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Get right into it. They're not saving that one for the end.
Well, it gets
Which,
very
yeah,
clearly based off of like an anthology book. When I say clearly, it's because it literally starts with the book opening up, and those old books usually did start that way because this is the Ballad of Buster Scruggs and other tales, and that's usually how they would start. Like the big story would be the first one, the cover story, and then everything else was just kind of whatever random thing they put in there.
Yeah.
But I think this movie is like there's if you like westerns, there's something in here for you in at least one of the segments. I don't know if all the segments will win one person over completely. I definitely feel like there's ups and downs in most of them, but it all depends on what you like. So like you said, story
They go
number
back
one.
and forth with their tone. The first one feels a lot like kind of, I would say, I guess, your standard Coen type characters. Buster Scruggs is a guy that he loves to hear himself talk. He goes on these really long monologues about himself and like what it's like. And he's a fun character though for Tim Blake Nelson to play. And I love everyone's reaction to him every time, like, Buster Scruggs, the runt of Riata. He's like, whoa, okay, sir. I don't like that name. I'm the songbird of I can't think of what it is, like the songbird of Sarah or whatever. He's like, I would prefer that title.
Yeah, I can't remember
Everyone
what it
keeps
is either, but yeah, he's trying to write his history, and yeah, I guess he gets caught up too. He gets caught up in himself. That's
I mean, his character is very much. It's almost like it's never said, but it is almost like it's like a divine protection to him. Like he can't get hurt. It's everything always constantly keeps going his way. Like he always is the fastest gun in the room. He always has the drop on everybody. And even then, when he leaves that first cantina and goes into the town and is playing poker with the other guys and Clancy Brown's there, and everyone's supposed to not have their gun, but he has his, and he uses the table to make him shoot himself in the head by bouncing
yeah, like I don't even
table
notice if he
out of
notices a loose board in the table. It just seems like he just straight up kicks it and makes the guy shoot
It's
himself.
like he's just like, well, I'm gonna see if this works, and it does.
Yeah, Shirley Joe. Yeah, a lot of good smaller casting too. I know Clancy is a bigger, more known person at this point, but like he definitely fits the Western vibe perfectly. And I feel like this story, even though it ends with the death of Buster Scruggs, it does have like that children's Western folklore feel to it. And I even like that there's like a random person. What's the question they asked? It's just like, are you good to go whenever? And he's like, yeah. And before he even's like finished saying it, you just hear that gun go off. And I love Coens are really good at this too. The point of view shots of like him taking his hat off, and you see the bullet hole in the front, and then
the bullet hole in the front, and then the bloody bullet hole in the back.
Yeah, and then it's like
and he's just like, "Oh, that's not good."
yeah, he's like, yeah, he fucked up, and he's singing about everything, like everything he makes into a song. He realistically would be the most obnoxious person in the world, but I do like when he's flying up to like heaven and he's singing, and then the sound design's really cool where the guy's singing, but he's like farther away because he's floating up into heaven.
Yeah, he's got a duet with the guy that killed him, which he has is a great also fits into how he keeps talking about don't let my all white appearance fool you. I am a man who has broken the law a time or two. He's and then the guy that shows up is like your typical all in black cowboy that rides up and is like, "I'm here to take you down." Yeah, there's that one I would say probably feels the most classically Coen out of all of the stories. Like it just really feels like it fits their aesthetic that they've done forever.
It also has like the old Western like painted backdrop that I don't think maybe the last one you could say has it, but the rest are like definitely seem to be filmed in location or have good enough like green screen or something that you can't tell.
Yeah.
But this one definitely has like the clear as day. You can see where the set ends and begins, and just has that nice old Western charm of when they were making these movies, and they were doing several Westerns a year. So they were just shooting, back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like the weirdest one because it's like when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know how much I like this, but on the rewatch and kind of knowing all the other stories that we're about to get, I like how it's different, and I do really like Nelson in this. I think that he's like always maybe since Oh Brother Where Art Thou, like you could tell that he really fits like the Western world very very well.
Yeah, it's a good one to start with. Again, you might think maybe put it at the end, but I don't think it fits with the end. When we get there, the story that is the end is probably the perfect one to be the finale of it. It's a good intro to this. Before then, we get into James Franco and Stephen Root in another. One of the more comedic ones. That's the thing. The first two are the most comedic, and then they kind of slowly get like a little darker as you go along and less comedic. Buster Scruggs probably is the one that's the most flat out comedy out of all of them, I guess. But then the second one, Pan Shot with Stephen Root and James Franco, still does carry a lot of those comedic moments. From him showing up to rob a bank literally in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, "You got a lot of business?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got plenty of business. People come up here all the time." Like they do.
I do love the anthology style too of like the book. I mean, you start to pick up on it, obviously, like maybe more so in the second story, but they always open with a picture and like a part of the story, and then they go into the story. And so like the shots are never perfect, but it kind of makes me feel like a storyboard of some sort. It never matches perfectly what we see, but it is more or less something that ends up happening. And then whenever the scenes like close, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably get so much more out of the movie if you just paused it and read what you could from the book.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Franco tries to. This one definitely. His character almost feels like the exact opposite of Buster Scruggs, where it's just like everything he does, he just goes wrong for him. Like Buster Scruggs, everything's perfect for him throughout that story up until the end. But with James Franco, it's just like everything he touches goes bad. Like he tries to rob the bank, he gets outmaneuvered by the bank teller, Stephen Root, who gets the drop on him and then runs up on him covered in pots and pans as armor to take him out. then when he's getting hung, he thinks he gets saved by like Apaches ride up on them and kill everybody, the entire party.
I like the
And
moment
I do
before
love
that
the
where
characters.
he's just like, it just wasn't fair, and he's like, what? Like
Yeah, I don't think that guy fought fair. I don't think. Yeah,
he had
I
like
don't think he
pots
fought
all
fair.
over him or something. Like it wasn't a fair fight.
And then I do enjoy like the other guys in the party, like the posse. That's like, I want his horse. No, I do. He's like, well, you want to give one of these guys your horse? Don't make him fight over it. And he's like, I'm not giving these guys my horse. He's like, okay, that's your choice. They'll just have to fight over it, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess it also kind of has, even though it's like the tone's very different, it does seem like an entire movie could be the Comanches came, killed everybody, and left you like about to hang, and you're like, the person's just relying on their horse to not walk away, but the horse is like getting further and further away as time goes on because it's trying to eat the grass.
Yeah.
And it is really funny too when that, I don't know, the herder or whatever shows up and saves him, but like almost pretty much kills him because he's like, he's not a good shot at all. And it is funny when he's swinging back and forth like a pendulum, and he's like, we hold still. I'm like, he's gonna kill this guy. But yeah, the story is almost really, really abrupt too, because this probably feels like it must be like the shortest one, because
I think out of all of them,
yeah, because you see like all the deputies and stuff coming over the hillside, and the other guy just runs, and it just
because he says he says he's like, yeah, I got this herd of cattle, but everyone left, and why don't you be my partner, man? We can get in on this. Like, it's good. And yeah, as soon as he sees the sheriff's riding, he just runs off, and the guy's like, James Franco's just like, why'd that guy leave? That doesn't make any sense.
cut to he's
And then
being hung
immediately
again.
taken to town. Yeah.
And that infinite,
I
and
do
that
love the
meme.
sheriff when he's like, hey, he's like, what happened? He's like, we caught him rustling a herd. He's like, well, what's your evidence? He's like, he had the cows and they were stolen. He's like, good enough for me, hang him.
Yeah, and that guy's just like crying, and the first time. And yeah, it is kind of, and then it also does like, it ends with his death, also his point of view.
Yeah.
Even though Buster Scruggs kind of goes on a little bit beyond Buster Scruggs' point of view.
Yeah, and his point of view is like it's like such a sudden moment of, he sees that woman in the crowd and is like, it's like love at first sight. And he's like, oh my God, I've fallen in love. And then it's just immediately dead.
Yeah, like yeah. He kind of goes out with like a nice moment, I guess, for as nice of a moment as he's gonna get. Yeah, and then the third one's like, I feel, actually probably the next two. Meal Ticket is the third one, and All Gold Canyon is the fourth one. And I think they're maybe the stronger ones, even though the third one, Meal Ticket, is much, much darker. They're really good at telling their story almost entirely visually. There is dialogue in it, but
there's really no dialogue other than it's just his character, the armless, legless man giving the same monologue over and over again to everyone.
Yeah. Ozymandias, Cain and Abel from the Bible,
the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, Shakespeare's in
Which
there.
it's like, yeah, that's their, I mean, hey, that was their form of entertainment in the Old West, was like, no one could read, or most people were illiterate. So it's like a guy comes through that can recite all these things, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah, and it's kind of
But
cool.
everyone's like, I can only watch it for so long before I'm like done with it.
Well, it also doesn't help that he doesn't learn anything else. He is the one trick pony, where he's really big when he rolls into this town. And I don't know how much time passes, but as they get into winter, they start losing people. They have like a crowd of 3 people at one point, and nobody is giving them money. And then that's when Liam Neeson's character is like taken care of. I don't know this kid's name. Maybe I will in a few years. He's been in so many things. Harry Potter, Queen's Gambit. He's in that Pillion movie with Alexander Skarsgård. But yeah, Liam Neeson, I don't know if he's been in a Coen movie before, but nice to see him in there, and he obviously fits the Western great too. But I do like that he's like this weird kind of carny character and not like a typical like a sheriff or something that you like. He comes off as like a more stoic person in most of his movies. So to be kind of like, I don't know if I call him like just a straight up scumbag, but like he's like a very depressing, hopeless person, and he seems more depressed and more hopeless than the person that doesn't have arms and legs. But yeah, he sees the crowd and they're doing a trick with a chicken, that can do math because
It does math.
it's a very smart chicken, which clearly they're ripping him off. Like con number 2 is just selling that chicken to somebody for more than what a chicken should cost. Because yeah, I do like the scenes after that where the the thespian character is like, I mean, I know my days are numbered. Like he bought this chicken's not smart, but he's tired of me and I'm not gonna last anymore, and
He's too heavy to carry around. He costs too much money to feed.
yeah, the food stuff and like that chicken's just like, yeah, well, I think it's when he sees the big bag of food that Liam Neeson brings out to feed the chicken that the thespian character is just like, fuck, my time is limited. And it's just so horrific because everything's so suggestive in this one, where he just abruptly stops. He's wearing like the McCabe outfit from McCabe and Mrs. Miller,
Big fur coat.
yeah, and he just chucks a rock off this bridge, and then he goes back to his wagon, and it cuts to the kid's not there anymore. It's just the chicken. Yeah.
Which I think is I do like that they have that balance of you have these the first two episodes that are super heavily dialogue driven. I mean, that's what they're known for, is having characters that go off on these huge tangents and keep going, and they seem to speak above their standard intelligence for these type of roles. So then you had to switch to a story where there's pretty much no dialogue other than the actor doing his monologues, and like you can hear people mumbling in the background, or like and they're like, "Oh, that chicken's so smart" or something, but there's no other real dialogue for most of that
You only
scene.
really hear like the performance. You only hear the shows that the people are getting.
Yeah, which that feels like that's getting more into like their noir side, where it's more dark and more visual than dialogue heavy. We're getting into something like No Country for Old Men that doesn't need a ton of lines to it. They could do a lot just visually. But then getting into All Gold Canyon, that I think that one's the one that, like, for the longest time I was like, where is the story going? Like, this is like not it gets you by surprise because it's just nothing's really happening. It's just Tom Waits is a panhandler searching for gold in the mountains, and he's really dedicated to it. He has a whole system planned out of like, he finds a little bit, then moves down, and he keeps counting the gold and then seeing, okay, now I'm going down, so it must stop here. So I just have to go this way. And he's just super methodical for that whole
Yeah, it has
most of
like
that.
two things going on, which is the first, it opens with all these animals. So like it's this beautiful, like he's even seems kind of like shocked at first at how beautiful this little area of land is. And it's like it's partially a story about coming in and destroying the environment, but it's also very very good visually. I mean, he does talk to himself a lot, or he talks to Mr. Pocket, but
He's talking to the mountain.
yeah, like he does say, like, when he's trying to get the little specks of gold, he does like count it, so like it helps us to be like, oh, okay, he's trying to pinpoint where the pocket of gold is
Where
at.
it's coming from, yeah.
But I also think that it's also kind of very visually like the anti-environment thing, because every time he goes into the river, he's the only dirty thing in that river. It's like the most crystal clear water that you've ever seen, and then he's just like digging holes everywhere to the point that like it's just fucking up the environment. And yeah, I mean, you even get the scene too where he sees the eagle or the hawk or whatever is up there, and he goes up there to steal the eggs. But he has like some weird superstitious thing because when he notices he's getting watched by an owl, he's like, I'll put him back. And then he's like, they can't count. They'll never
He
know.
takes one, yeah, he's like, hey, birds can't count.
Yeah.
Which is a funny, like, it's a perfect reference to the previous story where he says birds can't count, and that was the entire thing of picking a chicken that does math.
Yeah.
So it's like a perfect like callback. Birds can't count.
I didn't even think
But
about
yeah,
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
it's great. It fits perfectly. But the whole that's the thing. There's like a vague thing that connects most of these stories but they don't make it super obvious, which I think is really good. That they don't just flat out connect them, but they make like references, like something like that.
I mean, there's one huge theme that connects everything, and I think it just only gets like the first two. You don't really see it happening until maybe the third story, and then every story just kind of keeps reinforcing, you know, the main topic about what this is about. Especially the last story, like the last story, like if you don't get what's happening in that story, then you're missing the biggest theme of the entire movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this because this fourth story might be my favorite, because I think that like it's just so well told. It's so interesting, even though you don't really see anything from this type of perspective in a Western ever. It's always just like you never get a job like this. But we do get to the point where like it would come to the classic Western, where when he finally, I would say, hits the jackpot, or what he calls the pocket, when he finds Mr. Pocket, he it's almost immediately there's like a gunman over him. And I think probably one of the best cast actors too, because he has this like very awesome, like hopefully some of it's makeup, but he's got this very like grizzled look to him, like a very realistic looking person. And man, he just fucking shoots him in the back. And I honestly really love this scene too, because it plays out, I don't know, maybe it's only like 2 minutes or something, but it feels like it plays out a lot longer. But I do absolutely love him like taking that guy out. And
He's just so mad. He's like so offended that he's like, I can't believe you would sit there and watch me work all day,
Yeah.
all the time. I do all the work, and then you're just gonna come in and shoot me.
But the scene where he's just like, like watching him, and he jumps in, which assuming is probably supposed to be like, you know, 10 minutes or so have passed in that world. And Tom Waits is just like jumps up and he's alive and takes him out with that pickaxe, which he does look at the pickaxe like right before he gets shot, but it does lead you to believe that he's just straight up dead. But yeah, defends himself and takes as much of the gold as he can get and buries the guy and maybe moves on, maybe comes back. But yeah, it is so, and I don't know how he survives either. Like when he's just like, maybe he doesn't, but he's just like, went straight through. Perfect. Didn't hit my guts. Didn't hit anything important. And I'm like, I don't really know if you would be that lucky. Like, I feel like, I mean, even if it did go clean through, you just washed yourself out with some dirty river water. I mean, I guess you had the cleanest river water.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't polluted yet.
Yeah, maybe it is a little hopeful. At least in the story, he's alive when he leaves.
Yeah. And the fifth story, we kind of get like an Oregon Trail.
It is Oregon
vibe.
Trail. Yeah, Oregon Trail, the movie, the short
Just
film.
riding out. I'd say this one might be my favorite out of the bunch. It's a great little I think it's probably the longest out of all the stories. I don't like sit there and time them all, but I think this one might be the longest out of them. Pan Shot, I think, is
It
definitely
feels
the
slower.
shortest, and this one feels the longest. It's like the most. This one has the most moments in it. Like everything else, kind of feels like it just builds to a moment, builds to a moment. This one's like a lot of things happening, so I think it is the longest of the stories. So I guess the most kind of developed of an idea. But yeah, they're out on the Oregon Trail trying to cross the country when her brother dies, which I do love it. It does go right back to like when they're in that boarding house or something before they leave, and that guy was coughing. That's a nervous cough. That wasn't a sick cough. We don't let sick coughing people in here. That was a nervous cough. Like it's like I'm pretty sure it was a sick cough because that guy died immediately after being there for a day.
He dies of cholera, which I mean, they could have made it dysentery. That's the only way they could have really
Yeah,
brought it
the
up,
only way
but
it
that
could have
would have
been
been a
funnier.
slower death or like a more obvious death.
The grosser death.
Yeah, but yeah, like nobody likes her brother. Even she likes him as a brother, but is like will easily admit like, nah, he's not a very good businessman. Like when they
She
talk,
has to pretend that his dog is her dog because it's like they don't like him, but as long as she says it's her dog, they're like, I guess we'll put up with the dog barking all the time if it's your dog.
but and then they have like their I don't know what to call it, their hand or whoever is driving their wagon and like helping them move stuff because
It's his boy. That's what you keep saying. My boy, Matt.
well they call him his boy, but he's like a hired person, and
He's a boy.
I do
He's just the boy. He's the best boy.
and they're like they promised him like what $400
$400. Or like $200 is half. That guy's like $200 is half.
and you're like
What?
he's lying, and then she's like, I don't know, my dad. My brother was such a bad businessman. He could have
They made bad
that could have
choices.
actually been the deal. Yeah. And I also like the cowboy that ends up playing Billy Knapp. Oh shit, what's his name? He has like a real generic real name.
It's like Bill Heck.
Yeah, Bill Heck. I don't really know. I don't recognize him from anything. It says he was in The Leftovers. I don't know who he was in that.
They combine, there's so many people in this that are like, if it's such a weird, every one of these stories has people 100%, and then people that you're like, who is that person? Like there's such like off the wall casting of like nobodies that you've never heard of, but they all do a good job.
Yeah, Zoe Kazan's like the only person in this story that I'd recognize, except maybe that dog Wishbone, or I don't know if that's Wishbone. Wishbone's probably dead.
He looks more like Frazier's dog.
Frazier's
dad's dog.
Yeah, what's his president something?
President McKinley.
President Pierce.
Yeah. He was an old timey president.
I do
From
like
that time period.
I do like the little bit too, where like when she doesn't know if she's gonna be able, they're like, you're gonna go back, right? And she's basically like, I don't know. I don't know how I would get back. Like, I don't know. We've been moving around quite a lot. I don't think I could do that. And then it's like, I guess I'm moving forward, even though all my plans were pretty much my brother's plans. And
because she has like nothing to go back to and nothing to move forward to, really. So she's just kind of like stuck.
and then she said, and then like the only thing that you really get to see any of her is when they're like, everyone's complaining about that dog. And she's like, that's not my dog. I don't care about that dog. And he's like, is it okay if I put the dog down? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. Which I think that is like the defining character aspect of her that, ties into that her story. But him going over the hill to kill the dog, and you hear 2 gunshots, and then he comes back and he's like, I missed the dog and it ran away, but it'll definitely never come back. Even though I said it'll definitely follow the train or whatever if we keep moving forward. So I was inclined to think that the guy was just lying about killing the dog. Except if you want to say when they did the picture at the beginning of the story, it was the dog was in it still. So, but it could have been generic. It could have just been a generic cowboy.
Yeah, she does eventually find the dog. Yeah, after they really set you up to have like the most tragic ending they could. You know, his plan to pay for the boy is that he'll marry her and quit being like a guide for people going on the trail. Uh, so like as soon as that happens, you're like, well, one of them's got to die. Like this, there's no way the story ends with like a happy ending. Like as soon as they're like, yeah, we'll get married and we'll have a family and everything will be perfect. And it's like, no.
Yeah, and then he, who the fuck is that guy? Like the second in command of the other dude. That's just
The old man.
Wagoneer guy. Yeah, he's that old man, but he's like the one helping get them across the country. But yeah, when all the Indians come and he gives her that gun, he's just like, if we get overwhelmed, there's 2 bullets in there, and that's not for them. That's for us, because they're gonna fucking do some nasty shit to us. So we're gonna have to put ourselves
And it's
out.
like and it's like he shows that he's still got it, even though the Billy Knapp's like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. He's getting old. It takes like a lot to get him out of bed in the morning. It's getting tough to like for him to do anything. I think I'm just gonna. It's like almost more. I think he was just like bored that nothing was happening. Like he was ready
I mean, you just
for
see him
action to happen.
chilling and eating. Like, he never like does. I mean, the only thing that he really did was whenever they were talking about the money, and he's like, "That seems a lot like a lot of money. That seems like that just doesn't seem right." But yeah, he basically by like the skin of his teeth keeps off the, like, I won't say scares off, but wards off the Indians. And they are really aggressive because they have like guns and stuff whenever they show up over the hill. But he ends up getting like the upper hand, but
He is like Stephen Root with like pan shot. It's just like dog hole.
Mhm.
He shouts every time. He's like they're gonna hit them prairie dog holes and they ain't gonna even know what hit him.
And he does take some out too, but yeah, when they do survive, and then he finds out that she did shoot herself in the head.
She thought he was done for.
Yeah, and she followed the directions. Yeah, it just has that like, that's probably like the sadder of the endings, because it's literally him going up over the hill back to the wagons with that dog, and that Billy Knapp's like coming up over the hill, and it just ends. And then like the little bit of the book that you can read is just like, yeah, and he had no idea what he was going to say to Billy Knapp.
Yeah. So it's a good story. I do like he does kind of have like again, it feels like they are pulling from a bunch of different things. This story I think feels most like connected to something like True Grit. Like the characters feel like something out of there. You know, he's a little bit of like the Rooster Cogburn character. Like when he goes over and finds she's killed herself, and he's just like, oh, she shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Although he feels more real world than some of the other characters. Like he literally, it's a gut punch for this guy that she shot herself. Yeah. And then we move into our 6th and final story, which starts as like a mystery almost, I would say, because it's just like all you know is like there's some creepy stagecoach rider, and it's just these random ass people having a conversation in this very tight. The whole thing's dialogue almost in this one.
Yeah. It's one scene or one setting the entire time. They don't leave the coach until the very end.
Yeah, they don't leave the coach till the end. Everything's through the story. That's how you start piecing together what is more or less going on, which some of them are dead. I guess all of them are dead, but some of them have jobs. Like some of them are Grim Reaper types or whatever. but then others are like I don't necessarily know what the driver or the stagecoach person is, but when that woman's having like a panic,
He's just like the ferry. He's like the ferry boat that takes you over the river Styx or something like that. He's just like the guy
yeah,
that transports you to the next stage of the afterlife.
yeah, and they're like, we need to stop, and they're like, oh, he doesn't stop. Like there is
Yeah,
there.
part of the policy.
It's a very it's a very strict policy.
The way they phrase everything too is funny. Like the woman says, like there's they all argue about like there's only two people in the world, and she's like it's either good folk or sinners, and the trapper's like no, it's either people or gophers or something like that, and then they're like no, the only two people in our line of work is dead or alive. They're like, so you take him in alive, and he's like, I didn't say we take him in alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I guess it could be subtle. I mean, I guess there could be people that watch this and I feel don't understand what happens in the story, but it's almost visually like in your face. Like you said, the ferryman, like it's literally a passage to their final destination at this Fort Morgan. And I do like that it's also like a real time segment from like the time that it starts till the time that it ends is all just, you know, basically time doesn't it's normal for them as it is for us. And I do like how it's gets darker, where just that
Yeah.
much time passes. We're like it's kind of creepy, but you don't know necessarily, I guess, where these people are going. It's hinted that some are obviously like they're going beyond to the next place. Like it's eerie like that when they finally get to that hotel. And when they finally go inside, like the staircase is like extremely well lit. Like it's like fucking daylight's just pouring down the steps as there's that body that they're bringing with them to the next place. So I don't really like, I would say I don't 100% know if it's like a heaven or hell thing or that singular body that they had at the top, like why that was different than the ones that were alive and why he was going up the stairs, which I think would visually suggest he was going to heaven. But I also did like Brendan Gleeson's great in this. I do like how you think like he's the third, like the fourth person passing on, and they're like, nah, he's like my he's like my assistant. This guy's just he's just shadowing me. He's learning the ropes. And I like the shot where like they're afraid to leave the wagon. They're afraid to go into the hotel. And when they do go into the hotel, like when the Frenchman, he's the one that hesitates the most because of what he sees. When he opens that door, they're like already vanished. It's so eerie, and the door just closes on him.
Yeah. And he watches the coach drive away, and like the coachman does not unload any luggage for them, like so they have nothing with them. So it's like oh they like why that's like what implies the most that
They're dead.
they're definitely dead because it's like and they don't even seem to question that they don't have any luggage with them for this journey. They're just all kind of they're all vague. The only one that actually describes like why she wants to be there is the woman. She keeps saying like I'm trying to meet my husband, but like the trapper and the Frenchman never seem to have like a good reason for why they're in the place that they're in. Like they don't seem like they would be in this area for any particular reason.
Yeah, and the trapper dressed like the trapper, and probably he's probably like the most out of place person in the stagecoach. It's like the biggest hint that these people, like before you get everything else, that these people are deceased, and I'm assuming that that's how like he died wearing that kind of stuff, and the other people are more well dressed, but like. Yeah, I do like the Frenchman that's sort of like, yeah, your husband's waiting for you, but I'm sure he was happy to be rid of you when he left. But yeah, and I kind of like the idea of passing. Like, it's not the individual. Like, I get they died around the same time or something. So they're all going together. They're all going to this place together, even though they're strangers. And And then in this story, the most Coen thing I think is the stagecoach driver just like taking off like a bat out of hell, like just like whipping that stagecoach around and just taking off. And I think that one probably unfolded almost like a short version of the story where every single story is about death in some way. And I saw this one thing online. I like this. It's from a guy named Peter Labuza. And it says that the first story is death comes unexpectedly. The second story is death is inevitable, but sometimes there's grace. The third one, death is inevitable, there's no grace. The fourth story, sometimes you can escape death. The fifth one, sometimes you can't. And the fourth one, or sorry, the sixth and last one, sometimes you're already dead. So yeah, it's really weird because that's the defining thing that you really don't pick up on until probably the third story, I would say. And I also feel like that's probably what makes the Prospector story so much stronger is that all the main characters are pretty much dying at this point. I mean, unless you want to count the thespian as like the secondary character and Liam Neeson as the first character, the protagonist or whatever. So whenever Tom Waits gets shot, like I literally did think he was dead, and I thought it was just gonna kind of like take off with this gruff looking guy, but nope, not what happened. So there's surprises in this, and yeah, like the humor. I would say it's in at least half of these stories. There's some good humor.
Yeah.
And the other half's mostly depressing. Yeah, like the meal ticket one is just so dark that like it's not. It just never seems like it's gonna go in a good way. It just gets worse and worse and worse. But yeah, I do appreciate it. This is still a Netflix exclusive. It came out.
I think it'll always be a Netflix exclusive.
Well, there's a possibility that maybe it eventually finds its way
to
to
on the Criterion.
Yeah, like a physical release. I don't think that it's ever going to be. Well,
It's almost surprising that they've never done because Criterion does. They're partnered with Netflix for most of their movies, and they've done a ton of Coen Brothers movies.
You know what's weird about it? Yeah, it's one of the older ones because in 2018, when this came out, I don't think and a lot of their movies or any of their movies were getting like releases, or maybe they were releasing some things on Blu-ray themselves. But the following years, like when they did Marriage Story and maybe some other ones, but Marriage Story got the physical release. And since then, maybe there's like, as of now, there's maybe like 5 or 6 Netflix physical releases through Criterion that I can think of. Like Killers of the Flower Moon was another big one where I was like, just never thought that it would get a physical release because they made it sound, because Netflix made it sound like it's never going to happen. But yeah, for the Coens working with them, and I feel like there's like a Coen movie every year that's either new to the Criterion or they're making, or it's like 4K release or something. You would think Buster Scruggs, like the only one that has not been out, would be the one that gets released
at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's them, unless it's something weird
Maybe
like another one like Kino or something gets it. But yeah, maybe they have their exclusive deal. I don't know. I'll also say I really did like the music in this, and a lot of it being sung by just the actors themselves.
The actors, yeah.
Because like the credits for like the singing was like, this song was performed by Liam Neeson. You know, this was Brendan Gleeson. It won Best Screenplay at the Venice Film Festival, and that's the only award that it has. I feel like this is another one. I mean, I guess it came out at the Venice Film Festival, but maybe it got shut out of the Academy Awards. It has some nominations, but either people really weren't feeling it, or they were just like,
I feel like it was still before like people finally accepted that
Fighting Netflix.
Netflix movies are to like give up. Because I mean, after that, then you had like after this, like you're saying, Marriage Story, Roma, The Irishman. That's when you started getting those movies that got more and more nominations and actually started winning Academy Awards.
Well, they
I think
had the
this was
bigger
like
directors behind. I mean, I guess the Coens are big directors.
Hey, but yeah, what do you? They're Academy Award winning directors. You're acting like they're nobodies.
these nobodies, the Coens.
These bums.
They're brothers,
They're never
I guess.
going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They do have a weird rule, like currently for the Academy Awards, that there has to be like a theatrical release for it to be nominated.
It's like at least like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, and they've been doing it, but it's hard to find those movies like around here. The big theater chains like AMC's all around us, and AMC will not play those movies. They want like a full month run minimum, which I think is crazy because AMC's pulling shit out of the theaters like in a week sometimes. Like there's shit that is pulled out of the theaters so fast from them.
Yeah.
Why not just put in like I saw Wake Up Dead Man. I saw that at I guess not a theater chain, but just like some small theater around here that was playing it. And I would have loved to see Frankenstein on a big theater, but being that I didn't see it in like the 3 days that it was in the theaters here, I was like, I'm just going to watch it on Netflix. At this point, it's not like it's a special experience watching it in like some small ass theater. It's about as anti-theater as I sound. Where I'm like, I do like going to the movies. I do like seeing things on the big screen with better sound, and I sound like the commercials. But when there's such a small window too, it's just like, yeah, you didn't even give me the opportunity to see it. And Frankenstein was good, but it wasn't even as good as Del Toro's last couple. Like, I don't think it was good as Shape, Water, Pan's Labyrinth. Pinocchio might even have been more interesting, his Pinocchio movie. But yeah, we'll have to see where the Coens go from here. I guess if their movies are coming out like next year, maybe 2 or 3 years from now would be the opportunity for them to come back together. And I think it'll be a big deal too. Because if they're coming back together, then it's like a decade of them not working together.
Maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they said 10 years. We need at least 10 years apart.
They're turning into like Tarantino's where they're giving themselves weird ass deadlines that they don't need to have. I can't do it. I can only do this many. Sir, you made that up. Yeah, but I don't know. As these directors get older too, they change or they stay the same or they don't, I'm really interested to see whenever you watch Disclosure Day, because it's not top tier Spielberg at all. It's like the middle. I mean, it's not the worst thing that I've ever seen, but it's like it's in the middle somewhere where like story didn't matter. There's a lot of weird things in that movie that are like, I don't know. Maybe he just gets away with it in the past because of the spectacle. Like I think Jurassic Park's like my favorite example of this movie can have all these plot holes and issues with it, but it's such a cool movie that like you just get over it. And how often does that happen? But yeah, my thoughts on this overall, I think that this was a very good movie. Maybe a great movie. Maybe like the high middle ground of the stuff that they've done. Although there's some of their stuff is like, pretty bad. They do miss sometimes, but I would say more than not they're excellent.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah,
they can't all be winners.
Or I do really like some of them, like Burn After Reading. I've only seen that movie one time, And there has to be like 5 scenes in that movie that are stuck in my head forever. So maybe we'll do that. Did we ever do that? I don't think we covered that one.
I don't think so.
But we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we are going to cover a director that Chuck said that he has never watched any of his movies before, Gus Van Sant. We'll be doing Good Will Hunting, which I wouldn't say it's his best. Maybe it's his, like, the biggest one, like, accolades wise. It's definitely, like, the beginning of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Like, it's kind of like their origin.
Hey, don't forget about Casey.
He's there, but I feel like Casey's not like a big thing until maybe like Gone Baby Gone, which was overshadowed by his brother Ben Affleck, who actually is a good director, or he's capable of making good movies, at least.
Put it that way, yeah.
I mean, I don't know many he's done like 4 of them now, and I think there's only one that I just didn't care about, and the other ones were good to great, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if he topped Gone Baby Gone, and I think that's his best one. And where the hell's Matt Damon? Why is he not directing?
I thought he had directed something.
Did he?
I don't know. I thought he had. I mean, I think he's produced things, but I thought maybe he had at least one.
You gotta look up Matt Damon, the director.
He had one in him. This is just saving it.
Who's the director of Matt Damon? He has never directed a full feature film. Probably doesn't want to fucking deal with it. Yeah, and he's got his big one coming out. Probably by the time this episode comes out, The Odyssey. His middle name's Page. Matthew Page Damon. Wish I didn't know that. And that's just, I'm going to end the episode with, I wish I didn't know that at the end of the episode. That's it. Thanks for listening.
This is Cinema d'Amore. Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for upcoming episodes. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are heard. Subscribe, rate, review, and above all else, thank you for listening.